John is the kind of a person who, if he was asked whether or not he should receive an award like this, his response would be no. Why should I receive this award? There are others in the community who probably have done more than I. And to that I would say I totally disagree.
I think it's a very deserved award. I think he's always played down any type of attention. I think he's always enjoyed working behind the scenes. He is not one to toot his own horn. But I also know that he takes civic involvement very seriously and always has, and has been involved in the Mansfield civic community for many years.
Some of his main clients like Med Central, North Central State College, those kinds of places, not only did he represent as a lawyer, but he also supported them in other ways through his own time. He melded his professional and community service. I mean, he looked out for his clients not only as their lawyer, but supported them in every way he could in the community. You don't see that all the time with other lawyers.
He has done so much for this community. During that 28 years that I've known him, I've got to see him in action, and he's a very considerate individual, very knowledgeable, cares so much about Mansfield and the greater Mansfield area. As a board member, he's required to spend an awful lot of time in meetings, and he does that. He never says no when we ask him can he do something for the system. So we've enjoyed a great deal of leadership from John, and he certainly is well deserving of that.
He was on city council. He got to know a lot of people. He's been on a lot of different boards, and most notably I remember the hospital board. And he's been on the Mechanics Savings Bank board for many, many years. Done a lot of other things, Humane Society. I can't begin to mention all of them, I'm sure.
He cares about the quality that we provide and challenges us to improve every year. So the status quo is nothing that John is happy with. He wants us to constantly improve.
I think that's part of the reason Mansfield has survived while a lot of similar towns have gone into a continual descent. And I think it's because of leadership like that we can all kind of look around and pat ourselves on the back as a community to some extent.
He cares about people. He's extremely intelligent. He has a great legal mind. And he's just there when you need him.
One of the surprises of his retirement that he actually stayed retired, and Sonny didn't send him back to the office. We didn't think that would last very long either, but apparently it has. So, but he's dedicated to his family.
He's so proud of them, and he talks about them, and he supports them. So I think he's a great family man, and I think any of us would love to have him as a father or as a brother.
Well, he has 3 children, and as you know, young John, with his wife and 2 children, lives here in Mansfield, and his 2 daughters live in Chicago, and they're all active in the community in Chicago, and so I'd say his children turned out pretty well.
He respects his children. I think his children respect him, what he has done.
He's a good friend, he's a great father, and he's an excellent lawyer. And I think I realized all of that when we got together. He counseled my sisters and I not to be lawyers, which I always thought was interesting. And then when we started working with him, I was amazed at how good of a lawyer he was.
He's a lawyer's lawyer, there's no doubt about that. I think he just commands respect. And he gets the job done in a very effective manner.
He's extremely rational, which in the business he was in, that's a good thing.
For all his professional acumen as a lawyer, if anybody had ever been in his office when he was at full-time practice, you would have seen what looked like a complete disaster. He had stacks and stacks of papers and files. I think we always wondered how would he ever retire, because he'd never be able to clean that mess up. But he did. He put his mind to retiring, and he did, and he vacated his office. He still maintains some client contacts, and he still has a place. He's of counsel to our firm, so he comes in. It became apparent he needed some space. after he left, because then we'd find his stacks of papers in our conference room or someplace like that. And so we said, John, you need to have a place for you to come, and he settled on that place, and it happens to be our supply closet amongst the pens and papers and ink cartridges and that kind of thing. And so if we need any supplies, we just go ask John.
In addition to being a good friend, he's a good putter. He really is. But we play a lot of golf, or we have in the past. We don't play much anymore, but maybe because I can beat him. No.
My other grandfather was quite an avid golfer, and so we learned to play golf. I think he was pretty much responsible for that. That was my grandfather, Siegenthaler.
We play a lot of golf together in the summertime. Sometimes he lets his golf game deteriorate to the point where it's just a little bit better than mine, but he recovers quickly. Occasionally
I would play with him, and I would go out and maybe play once a year, and then I'd go hit a bucket of balls. We'd have this contest, and I would go out and hit a bucket of balls, and doggone if I couldn't go out and just kind of keep up with him. And that used to frustrate him no end, because he was a regular, you know, played several times a week, and to think that this younger brother that could come out and play once a summer and hit a bucket of balls and keep up with him was real frustrating.
I had the pleasure of playing golf with John a number of times, and he's fun to play with. He doesn't take it real seriously, but in medical terms, he suffers from time to time from a terminal condition, and that's a deathly duck hook. And when that happens, it kind of irritates him, but he takes his golf seriously, but not seriously enough that you can't have fun with him.
As comfortable at the 7-Eleven hall watching pro wrestling as he would be traveling in Europe somewhere, and I think a lot of his relationships found that out, that he has friends from all walks of life, and he does have a lot of friends. But he's a very, I guess, silent influence, or quiet influence is the best way to describe it. I think a lot of people listen to what he has to say, and they tend to act accordingly, but I think he's extremely low-key about it.
He's very quiet in some ways, but effective and outgoing in others.
You know, I think that John, in addition to being a well-respected attorney in this community, could have also been a very well-respected judge. The way he thinks, the way he handles himself are talents that I think would hold him in good stead as a judge.
He's one of those people you like to be around, because he's warm, and he always asks about you and asks about your family, and you know that he's doing so because he cares about them.
The thing that is common throughout all of John's relationship is the respect that other people that he has dealt with, whether it be his own clients or opposing counsel or the judges or whoever he has dealt with over the years, and the people that he's worked with. I can't think of any higher honor than respect.